Hi everyone, welcome to Life Tips by Ning. Today's video is about how to do I Ching prediction, also known as divination, based on the coined method. So let's begin by sharing the basic structure of any of the 64 hexagrams. They're all consisting of 6 different lines. The sequence of these lines are very important. It has to be read from bottom to the top because it represents this particular hexagram's meaning and the sequenced time-based developmental stage of the same meaning. And each line represents like from the baby phase to the more maturing phase to the end of that hexagram's message. So the first line is called the beginning line, and then you progress into the second line, third line, fourth line, fifth line, and the top line. And the reason this first and the sixth line have different names is because not only they're important in terms of signifying the different phases of a same object, but also they have this special importance of showing you where this particular hexagram comes from and where it's going, like even after its own end, where is it gonna develop into to signify the future trend. That's why, because of the importance of these two lines, they have different names called beginning and the top versus the first and the sixth line. So that's kind of a quick structure overview of any of the 64 hexagrams. And the goal of I Ching prediction is today using 3 copper coins to see how can I land on a yin or yang result for each of those lines so that I can figure out the corresponding hexagram, which will give me answer to my question. So in terms of specific operational order, the first step, we need to have 3 of the same coin, and you have to designate which side is the yin side versus the yang side. So as shown in this picture, the top row are the heads, right? Having a figure's head image. That's typically the yin side, which we designate number 2 for, because 2 is an even number corresponding to yin. And on the bottom row, that is the tail side, which represents yang, and we give it a number 3. Odd number equals yang. So now we know what side means what number, yin or yang. We toss it a total of 6 times, and each time you will experience one of those 4 possible outcomes. And based on the final number, we can designate the first time you toss the 3 coins, whatever number you land with, you can either put a yin or a yang line there, right? Until you do it the last time, the 6th time, so that you can have a different possibilities of yin and yang, which represents one of the 64 hexagrams. So that's kind of the gist of the flow. But in terms of the 4 major outcomes, you might ask, why would you mess with 4? The whole goal is to have yin or yang for your each line. I just only need 2 possible choices to pick from. The reason for 4 is without introducing this subcategory of extreme yang versus medium level yang, right? And the sub-level of extreme yin versus the medium level yin, you don't introduce any change, then your hexagram becomes stagnant, and you only represents like, as of now, in your current situation, this is what the hexagram's answer is for your question. But as long as you introduce some sort of a variable in the picture based on the extreme yang and extreme yin, those extreme state will not stay forever, and they will switch to the other side. And that's when you can introduce some change to the hexagram and come up with a new hexagram, because this new hexagram is indicating your future trend. That's just a more natural way of doing like an overall holistic prediction based on the current result and the future result. So it's just a more informative way to help us make decisions. So in terms of this 4 possible outcomes, right? So if you have after your toss, you have 3 of the same heads. You add the 3 yin numbers together, you come up with the yin number 6, right? Because that's a even number. And the second possibility is 2 heads and 1 tail. That's a 7, which is the odd number equaling a yang line. 1 head and 2 tails, you have number 8, which is an even number. It's a yin line. And 3 tails together, that's a number 9, which is an odd number, meaning a yang line. So you have the blue colored of yin line and the black colored odd number yang line. As long as you have either number 6 or 9, that represents that extreme yin or extreme yang condition. And for that particular line, you should be able to change it to the opposite side, which will enable you to come up with a new hexagram which signifies the future. So I will share a very quick example to showcase how to run this coin-based prediction. So this is an example of my current hexagram after 6 tosses of the 3 coins. So after my first toss, I got a number 7, and then the second toss, number 8, third toss, number 9, fourth toss, number 8, fifth toss, number 7, and the last toss, number 9. And then we need to look for either 6 or 9. For this example, I didn't land on the 6, so I have to mark the 9 because those are the extreme yang state, meaning those 2 line positions of the third line and the top line, the yin and yang will switch. So focusing on the current hexagram, right, you can see the odd number corresponds to the yang line and the even number corresponds to the yin line. So still going back to the 8 basic diagrams, your inner diagram is a fire because this 3 line is the image of a fire, and your outside diagram is the image of the wind. And wind on top, fire on bottom correspond to the family hexagram. Now we don't need to know the meaning because for the rest of the series I'll dive into the details, but this is how you land on a particular hexagram because it's based on this wind and fire combination. But wait, because we have 2 of the 9 numbers, that means this condition of current hexagram won't stay forever. We also need to figure out what's the new changed hexagram. So moving from the bottom to the top, you can see the first one is not the extreme state, so it stayed the same as a yang line. And the second one is number 8, right? So it stays the same as a yin line. But the third line, since we have a number 9, so for the same line position, it's changed from yang to yin. And the fourth line, because it's a number 8, so the trait stays the same. It's still a yin line. The fifth line is a number 7. It's not the extreme state, so it stays as a yang line. But the top line, because it's a number 9, it's an extreme yang. So you can see we change it from the current yang line to the changed hexagram's yin line. Now you just form a new hexagram, and then it's a matter of figuring out what this hexagram is, right? So it's the same thing. The internal diagram, the bottom one is a thunder, and the top one is water, and the combination of water on top and thunder on the bottom is the hexagram called difficult beginning. So that's how you can end up with the current hexagram and the changed hexagram. And then I'll have another video explaining how much weight do you put into this one versus this one versus the description of this line versus this line, to mush all of those information together to come up with the answer to our question. So that's how you use a coin method to land on hexagrams to give us guidance. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.